Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want you to imagine something very simple before we begin. Imagine a version of you who never waits for motivation, never depends on mood, and never gives excuses to quit. A version of you who moves forward even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's boring, even when it hurts a little. This is not a superhero. This is not someone special. This is just a person who learned one powerful skill: how to force themselves to achieve a goal. And that's exactly what this story is about. This is not a lecture. This is not theory. This is a tale. A tale that might feel uncomfortably close to your own life. Once, there was a young man named Arjun. He was not poor, but not rich either. Not lazy, but not disciplined. Not stupid, but not focused. In short, he was average in almost every way. And the most dangerous thing about being average is that you never feel desperate enough to change. Arjun had dreams. Big ones. He wanted respect. He wanted freedom. He wanted to wake up one day and feel proud of himself. But every morning, when the alarm rang, those dreams felt far away, blurry, and heavy. He would silence the alarm, turn to his side, and tell himself, "I'll start tomorrow." Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next year. Every night, Arjun felt the same pain. Not the pain of failure, but the pain of knowing he could have done more. He would scroll through his phone, watching other people succeed, watching motivational videos, saving quotes, liking posts. And for a few minutes, he felt inspired. But inspiration always left him alone at the hardest moment, when it was time to actually work. One evening, after another wasted day, Arjun sat alone on his bed, lights off, phone in hand. He wasn't sad. He wasn't angry. He was tired. Tired of starting. Tired of stopping. Tired of lying to himself. That night, something strange happened. He didn't decide to change his life. He didn't promise to work harder. He didn't create a perfect plan. Instead, he asked himself one honest question. What if motivation never comes? That question hit him harder than any motivational speech ever had. What if motivation is not something you wait for? What if it's something you create after you start? What if the people who succeed don't feel ready, they just move anyway? The next morning, Arjun woke up again to the alarm. His body felt heavy. His mind immediately started negotiating. You're tired. You can do it later. One day off won't matter. And for the first time in his life, Arjun didn't argue with those thoughts. He simply said one sentence out loud. I don't need to feel like it. That was it. He didn't feel motivated. He didn't feel confident. He didn't feel powerful. But he stood up anyway. That was the first time Arjun forced himself to act. Not with anger. Not with excitement. But with calm resistance. He decided something very important that day. He decided that his feelings no longer had voting rights over his goals. That day, he worked for just 20 minutes. Not because he wanted to. But because he decided that quitting was no longer an option. And here is the truth no one tells you. Forcing yourself doesn't mean becoming cruel to yourself. It means becoming honest with yourself. Days passed. Some days were good. Most days were not. There were mornings when Arjun stared at his desk for 10 minutes before starting. There were nights when he wanted to throw everything away. There were moments when he failed, skipped, and felt disappointed. But something had changed. He no longer asked, "Do I feel like doing this?" He asked, "What is the next small action?" And that single shift changed everything. Arjun learned a brutal truth. Your brain is designed to protect you, not to make you successful. It wants comfort. It wants certainty. It wants easy rewards. So when you try to do something meaningful, your brain fights back. It creates excuses. It creates fear. It creates doubt. Not because you're weak, but because your brain thinks discomfort is danger. Once Arjun understood this, he stopped trusting his emotions blindly. When his mind said, "Stop," he asked, "Is this pain or is this progress?" Most of the time, it was progress. Weeks turned into months. Slowly, very slowly, something unexpected happened. Arjun didn't become happier. He didn't suddenly love hard work. But he became stronger. Stronger in the quiet moments. Stronger when no one was watching. Stronger when quitting felt easier than continuing. One night, while walking home, he realized something shocking. The goal he once dreamed about no longer scared him. Not because it became smaller, but because he became bigger. This is the power of forcing yourself. You don't force yourself to win. You force yourself to show up. Winning is a side effect. But the journey was not smooth. There came a time when Arjun failed badly. A project collapsed. An opportunity was lost. Weeks of effort seemed wasted. Old thoughts returned. See? You're not special. This is pointless. Why try so hard? That night, Arjun sat alone again, just like before. But this time, he didn't feel helpless. He felt calm. Because he had learned something most people never learn. Failure does not erase discipline. It reveals it. The next day, he showed up again. Not inspired. Not excited. But committed. This is where most people quit. Not at the beginning. But after progress. Because progress creates expectations. And expectations create fear of failure. Arjun decided something powerful. He stopped measuring his life by results. He started measuring it by effort. Did I show up today? Did I do what I said I would? Did I act even when I didn't feel like it? If the answer was yes, the day was a success. Over time, forcing himself became easier. Not because it stopped being uncomfortable, but because discomfort became familiar. And familiarity removes fear. One day, someone asked Arjun a simple question. How do you stay so disciplined? He smiled. I don't. I just don't negotiate with myself anymore. That sentence holds more power than you realize. Most people fail because they negotiate. They bargain with their future. They trade long-term dreams for short-term comfort. Arjun learned to end the negotiation. Work was not optional. Rest was planned, not earned through guilt. Quitting was not discussed. And slowly, quietly, his life began to change. People noticed. Opportunities appeared. Confidence grew. But none of that was the real reward. The real reward was this. He trusted himself. For the first time in his life, when Arjun made a promise to himself, he believed it. That belief is rare. That belief is priceless. Let me tell you something important now. You don't need a perfect routine. You don't need extreme discipline. You don't need to become someone else. You need one decision. To act despite resistance. You will never feel ready. You will never feel motivated enough. You will never feel fearless. And that's okay. Courage is not the absence of fear. Discipline is not the presence of motivation. It is action in spite of both. Years later, Arjun looked back at his old life. The scrolling. The waiting. The endless tomorrows. And he felt no regret. Because he understood something deeply. Your goals don't require your emotions. They require your obedience. Obedience to the process. Obedience to the boring days. Obedience to the uncomfortable truth that growth hurts. If you are listening to this right now, chances are you are standing at the same place Arjun once stood. Tired. Overthinking. Waiting for a sign. This is your sign. Not to feel motivated. Not to feel confident. But to move anyway. Start before you're ready. Work when you don't feel like it. Show up when no one is watching. Force yourself, gently, consistently, honestly. Not because life is cruel. But because your future deserves it. One day, you will wake up and realize something incredible. The goal you once chased is now behind you. And the person you once were is gone. Replaced by someone stronger. Someone quieter. Someone unbreakable. And it all started with one moment. One decision. One forced step forward. If this story spoke to you, don't ignore that feeling. Use it. Because the hardest part is not achieving the goal. The hardest part is deciding that you are worth the effort. And you are. Always have been. Keep going. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard.